Hello guys, so I want to go through the kit that you need to take on the Duke of Edinburgh expedition with you and how to pack it in your backpack as well. So let's start with the main bit that you've got to buy, which is your sleeping bag. Okay, now sleeping bags, the way to pack these is not to roll them up. This one's quite a nice expensive one that's filled with feathers. You don't need to get one like this, but I would recommend getting one of what we call these mummy shaped bags. So that kind of has a hood on it as well that will go up around your head. The way to pack it is you just start stuffing it into the kit bag it comes from, feed it in, push it all the way to the bottom. This is actually good for them. It's not just easier, it's actually better to take care of them this way rather than rolling it in exactly the same way every time. If you roll it in exactly the same way every time, you tend to squash certain bits of it and get cold spots. So, sleeping bag, you need to buy one of those. I would go to Mountain Warehouse in town, or I would go to Black's in town. You are looking for a 2 to 3 season sleeping bag. It's going to be quite warm, you're not going to be cold. If you are cold, you can just put some extra layer of clothes on. So better to get something like this, nice and light. Now, if it rains and this gets wet, you're stuffed. Not stuffed, you're having an uncomfortable night. I can't remember if I mentioned, at Black's, you can get 10 to 15% off with your discount card, or just tell them you're doing the Duke of Edinburgh programme. If you didn't get a discount card through the post, take your logbook along, anything like that. I doubt they'll really question you. Scouts, you get discount as well. Sometimes you get a bit more with Scouts, so ask which one gives you the most. You can buy online as well, but I don't think you'll save that much, and worth just checking out what you're actually buying. Okay, now I want to keep this nice and dry. I know it comes in a stuff sack. That won't keep it waterproof. Quite simply, just any old carrier bag. Stuff it in a bag. Bigger the better. Wrap it up. That's nice and secure. Now, sleeping bag. The other thing, we've got some foam sleeping mats that we can give you. These are quite nice though. If you don't sleep that well on a hard floor, these are sort of self-inflating mats. And what's nice is these pack up really small. So they're like a mini airbed. When you open them, there's foam inside there, and that'll fill up. Then when you've got all the air out, you squidge it down. I'll show you how we pack that in a minute and roll it up. So those are the two main bits of kit you're going to need to get yourselves. Okay, the backpacks. Most of us are going to be using a backpack probably exactly like this one. It's got one big main compartment. Now, when you pack things, you want to pack things kind of in the reverse order that you're going to need them. So first thing I'm going to put in is a tent. Remember, you're carrying a tent between sort of 2 or 3 of you, so you don't need a tent each. Remember, we give you the tents. So I'm going to put that in first, because what will happen is the sleeping bag and things, soft things, can then pack around that. So that's going down the bottom. I'm not getting my tent out to the end of the day, so what I don't want is my tent at the top, having to get that out to get the things I might need through the day. Right, next thing I'm going to put in, sleeping bag. Because again, I don't need that till the end of the day. So that I'm pushing that down sort of one side, so they're all the way down to the bottom. Sleeping bags are nice and squidgy, and you can kind of just keep on pushing stuff around them. They're great like that. Okay, so I'm going to just show you quickly how this sleeping mat works. So I undo the air vent on this. And by the way, you can buy these at the sort of camping stores in town. You can also buy these in places like Sports Direct as well. They do a whole load of the Carrymore stuff, which is quite good. Like I say, there's no need to get one of these. Just if you don't sleep that well, these can be a nice thing to have. You can probably hear the air coming out, so squidge all that out. And it normally comes with a bag or something to tie it up. I seem to have lost mine. See if I've got a handy piece of string I can just wrap around it. There we go. And the nice thing about this is this can pack away in my backpack rather than having loads of stuff hanging off the back. What we absolutely do not want is anything swinging off the back of our backpacks. That is an absolute terrible way to go camping. Okay, so that can go on inside as well. And the backpack's kind of feeling quite full at the moment, but there is so much space to just keep squeezing things around. Right. Okay, next thing I'm going to put in, because I'm probably not going to need it till the end of the day, pop your wash kit in. Now, between you, if you're smart, you could take 1 can of deodorant between 2 or 3 of you. The less you can carry, the easier this is. You obviously need your own toothbrush, but there's nothing wrong with sharing a tube of toothpaste between a couple of you. Do make sure you bring a toothbrush. You are going to feel a bit sort of fresh towards the end of all of this. Okay, so that's gone in there. Now, next thing, again, we'll give you this, a stove. Okay, so my stove's going to go in here. Now, while we're on the stove, you're going to want something to cook your meal from. So, obviously not your best china. If you fancy a cup of tea, coffee, or hot chocolate, chuck a mug in. If you're only going to drink water, don't bring the mug. You can take a knife, fork, and spoon, or you can get these things here. They're called sporks. You can get them for a couple of pounds, and they're a really clever sort of fork and spoon together. And given what we're going to eat, that's absolutely perfect. Now, I've got a plastic plate here as well, but remember, in your stove, the stove comes with a couple of lids. So you can always have someone cooking out the saucepan and someone eating out the saucepan, someone eating out of the bowl in there as well, if you wanted to leave your plate behind. That's a way you can make everything slightly lighter and free up a bit of space in your pack as well. Now, you wouldn't be carrying a stove and a tent, okay? So I've put the bigger one in there, and it might be that you split your tent between a couple of you, but I'm going to leave the stove out for now because I've already put a tent in. Okay, so I'm going to put now. Things like mugs, that's a lot of space in there. So if you fancy a hot chocolate or something like that at the end of the day, stuff that with bits of food and stuff, fill it up. You don't want anything sort of empty inside. But I'm just going to stuff those on into my pack. They can work their way down to the bottom there. Okay, what do we need next? Right, we need clothes. Okay, now, you're probably going to want to walk in shorts. It's probably going to be warm. But in the evening, whether it gets cold or not, you're probably going to feel a little bit chilly. Now, if you've got any of these sort of zip-on, zip-off leg type camping trousers, they're fantastic. If not, just tuck ideally, a pair of lightweight trousers in. Now, the reason we want the lightweight ones is if you did get wet, these will dry out really quickly. If sort of toweling jogging bottoms get wet, they're probably not going to dry out till you get home, and that can be a little bit uncomfortable. So ideal, it is fine to bring the jogging bottoms, it's absolutely fine. It's just this sort of lightweight stuff is better. Okay, so I want shorts and a pair of long trousers or leggings, whatever you've got. I'm going to want a warm top of some sort. You only probably need one warm top. Now, ideally, this sort of fleecy stuff is great. It's not necessarily warmer than other stuff, but again, it's going to dry really quickly if it gets wet. It's also nice and light and packs down relatively small. If we compare that to, say, just a hoodie or something like that, that hoodie is probably twice the weight and twice the size of the fleece, okay? And if it gets wet, it ain't drying out. Okay, spare underwear, things like that. Spare socks, yeah, your feet are going to get hot and sweaty, and putting a fresh pair of socks on the second day is going to be a blessing when it comes to blisters and things like that. Now, you can get these sort of super cool dry bags. These are great. They sort of clip open, they roll up. What's really good about these is you can keep everything organized. So I can sort of keep my clothes separate, so I might just chuck my extra layers of clothing in here. Now, I've got to think about this. I'm going to chuck this in and pack this away. I'm going to go through socks before I pack that away. If it's feeling a bit chilly and I think I might want to wear my fleece in the day, I don't want this stuffed away in there. I'll just put it near the top of my pack so I can get at it quickly. Right, socks. You can buy these sort of thicker walking socks, and they've got these sort of reinforced toes and ankles, so these are really good. But what you might want to do is if you suffer from blisters and you need to just get out and walk a bit and work out whether you do or not, is thin socks that allow a bit of movement. And actually, if you double up your layer of socks, so if you put 2 layers of thin socks on, what happens is those 2 layers sort of rub around and stop you getting blisters. Again, if your feet shouldn't get wet, but if it is raining at the end of the day, putting some nice dry socks on is going to be nice. So, other than my fleece, I'm going to chuck that in there. You are going to get sweaty. We're walking, so a spare t-shirt to wear on the second day. Now, any t-shirt is absolutely fine, but these sort of mesh-like technical ones are quite nice because, again, when you get sweaty, the sweat sort of wicks away rather than just clinging to your body. So they're quite cool. Now, clothes either in one of these super duper dry bags, they're brilliant, or roll that up and clip it up, or just take carrier bags. It's absolutely fine, but put them in something that A, is going to keep them dry if you get wet, but also when you get to your campsite and you start taking everything out, you don't want to be scattering your clothes all over the floor. So taking that out and putting that in one place, much better. So that goes into my backpack. Going to wiggle that down, squash it in. Okay, I'm going to squash my fleece in near the top. Now, where are we going next? Let's stick with clothes. You need a waterproof jacket of some sort. This is a warm jacket, it's not waterproof, yeah? I quite often feel the cold at night, so I tend to pack an extra jacket or something like that. But you know whether you feel the cold or not. This is great waterproof, it's nice and light, it has a hood, it packs up super small, great for showers, so I'm going to pack that one away. Now, if the weather is looking wet, then I want to put this near the top of my pack. So this one, I'm going to leave at the top, let's say it's looking wet. If it is looking like blazing sunshine, then we can stuff it at the bottom, yeah? You have a look at the weather before you go in a couple of days and have a sort of judgment on what you think you're going to pack. This is just a lightweight cycling one. I could have used that if I didn't have anything else. If all you've got is a puffer jackets will keep you warm, but they won't keep you dry. So you do want some sort of waterproof. Also, puffer jackets and things like that in the summer, they're going to take up loads of space. You're probably not going to be that cold. So look, something that scrunches up like that, but still going to keep you dry, that's kind of where you want to be. I'm going to sling that one to the side because I already put one in. Okay, still on clothing. You want some sort of sun hat. We are going to be walking in the sun. You can be quite exposed, so keeping the sun off your head, the sun out your eyes, really important. So this is one of the sort of pretty essential things, I'd say. This is more essential than a waterproof, to be honest, from when we're going. Now, something like that, I'm probably going to wear, but I want to get at, so in the lid of the backpack, that can go in there. Okay, at night, if you feel the cold, put a warm hat in or something like that. You'll be surprised because we're outside and you've been hot all day, you might just feel a little chilly at night. So if you are someone who feels chilly or you think you're going to be chilly at night in the tent, just pop a warm hat in as well. Okay, sticking with clothing, shoes. Now, you don't need big, heavy waterproofs, but let's just go through trainers. Trainers are absolutely fine. You probably can't see in the video, but these are sort of super lightweight trainers. They've got a really thin sole along here. So what happens is every time you sort of tread on a rock or something, those rocks are going to poke up and I'm going to feel those in my feet. And you are going to be on a few cliff paths. So those are going to make your feet quite sore. So better that you've got a trainer with a bit of a thick undersole. So these are slightly thicker, so they would be better. Better still, what's really good are these sort of off-roady type trainers. So if you can get anything like that, again, Sports Direct's great for stuff like that, something like that. But there is no need to go out and buy something special for what we're doing at this point. And if you're not used to walking in walking boots, there's no need for this to be in walking boots. Walking boots are for when we go up mountains because they give us ankle support if our ankle rolls from side to side. We don't need that walking around Jersey. Or if we were somewhere where, like the New Forest, where it's quite boggy and they'll sort of keep the wet out of our feet as well. We're not going for any bogs and we're not going up any mountains. So something nice and light, but with a thick enough sole that rocks aren't going to poke through and give you sore shoes. don't need to pack those because you're wearing them. You might, at the end of the day, want a flip-flop or something just to walk around the site on. So if you do sort of, you know, if your shoes aren't that comfy or they're new on the day, take something like this, nice and light, that you could wear around later on. On that, please don't buy something new and wear it for the first time on the day. Wear something you're used to wearing and you know doesn't rub and give you blisters. Okay, so that's my clothing, that's my camping gear, my stove. What do I need when I get there? Oh, while I'm walking, I need water. Now, water I want to get at as I go. So, with our backpacks, we have side pockets. This one's actually got a pocket here that if you've got one of these sort of bladder systems, you can fill up with water and have the straw as you go. To be honest, again, don't go out and buy a special water bottle. Anything is fine. You can refill your water bottle throughout the day. So we will meet you, we will have water on us, and we will refill your water bottles. So don't worry about taking, we don't want to see massive litre bottles of water. Just something like that you can just keep refilling through the day. Water is very, very heavy. Now, I'm going to do a separate video on food, but a lot of people are sort of like, you are absolutely welcome to take bottles of Coke and fizzy drinks and things like that, but it's heavy. And also they're going to give you a sugar spike. You're going to feel great in the morning and then you're going to have a sugar crash in the afternoon and feel rubbish. If you are sort of like, I can't stand water, try out some of these sort of, you can get these energy sort of tablet things. So, well, there's about 20 in here. I'd only need 3 or 4 for a couple of days. So one of those packs, you can get those probably, I don't know, probably in Sports Direct. I buy them online or whatever for when I go running. And they just give the water a bit of a flavour and give you some electrolytes and things like that. Bit of a carbohydrate drink. Now, I want to be able to get at my water through the day. So in this case, I'm going to put this in one of my side pockets here. Nice and easy to get to. You want to be drinking frequently. When I get to the site in the evening, if you wake up in the night, you need to go pee-pee, you're going to need a torch to find your way. Any torch is fine. Remember, you haven't got your mobile phones, so don't sort of go, I'm going to use the torch on my mobile phone. Sort of torch like this, absolutely fine. Better is a head torch that you can pop around your head. So that way, if you are trying to focus on something, you've got your hands free and you can direct the light where you want to go. There's loads of these available. Again, the camping shops do them. You can spend a lot of money on them, or you can spend about £10 on one as well. Absolutely fine. And you can go on Amazon for all this stuff as well. We will give you a map. You only need 1 map per group, so you'll be given a map in a map case. Sun cream. Again, chances are it's going to be hot, and it's things like you're walking in the sun across the back of your neck or across your shoulders. I advise not wearing a vest top because you can just get really horrible sort of sunburn on your shoulders. And trying to walk the next day, putting that backpack back on if you've got sunburnt shoulders is not nice. So either take a little mini thing of sun cream that will last you a couple of days, or in your group, just make sure someone has a full bottle of sun cream that you can share out. Okay, sun cream. I want to be able to get to that as well. Don't bury this all the way at the bottom of your pack, get sunburn and say, oh yeah, we couldn't be bothered to stop and get it out. So again, maybe that could go in with my water. It's a bit of a reminder. I'd probably be packing some sort of sweets and stuff around the sides here as well, just to sort of get at as I go through the day. Things you don't need. Obviously, you don't need your phone. Pen knives, things like that. Yeah, leave them at home. There's nothing wrong with them. They're great, but we don't need them on a school Duke of Edinburgh. Just leave them at home. There we go. Pop that to one side. So I've still got absolutely stack loads of room in here that I'm going to be able to fit all my food. I haven't used the side pocket there. I've still got loads of room in that side pocket there. You can see there's still sort of plenty of room in the top, and I haven't put anything in the lid yet either. One nice feature of these backpacks as well is they come with their own sort of built-in backpack liner. So again, put everything in a bag. You only put this on if it rains, but there is a sort of waterproof cover if it did start raining, just to keep this covered as well. Okay, so hopefully that helps on the kind of kit we need to take and how to fit it all in your backpack. Like I say, I will do a separate video on how to pack